When Mouse was first teased, it looked like nothing more than a prototype of a game that might not make it to the finish line, a prototype that seemed to take perfect advantage of the expiration of the copyright of the most famous mouse in the most extreme way possible. The art style was reminiscent of Cuphead, and the rubber hose animation that defined the 1920s and the 1930s was enough to capture attention though. Our initial assessment was that Mouse PI for Hire looked interesting, but also looked like a shallow attempt to capitalize on popular trends, including the genre and the aesthetic. However, the more that the studio shows and talks about the game, the more it might have some substance to go with its style, and looks like more than just a boomer shooter with a Cuphead aesthetic. On Podcast Beyond, the game director and lead producer came by to talk about their upcoming game, and it sounds like one of the main inspirations for Mouse PI for Hire is Metroid Prime. Talking about what was the most important direction for the game, they discussed having a very good gunplay, but they also talked about combining FPS with many Metroidvania elements, including abilities, upgrades, and backtracking. The ultimate goal for the team is to have something that feels both familiar and fresh. In the latest trailer, we can see a few of these abilities in action, including using your tail as a grappling hook, but they also discussed how you could use your tail like a helicopter, as well as more traditional genre skills like double jump, plus many more to discover. Considering you're using your tail, which you'll have from the beginning for some of these abilities, it will be interesting to find out how you learn to use it for better exploration. Gameplay will be a mix of level types from linear to branching, with the main idea to offer something that doesn't feel repetitive. The game features 3D environments and 2D art, which they said posed many challenges, but are extremely proud of how it turned out. With an animation style inspired by classics such as Popeye, Betty Boop, and Felix the Cat, you play as World War I veteran mouse Jack Pepper. After the war, Jack Pepper has transitioned from ordinary police officer into private investigator for hire in this pulpy noir story about mobsters, dirty politicians, and a conspiracy to take over America. Story progression will help Jack unlock new skills and abilities, but this can also be done through side quests and venturing off the beaten path as a way to reward the player that wants to see what this world has to offer. Mouse PI for Hire will be available in different difficulty levels depending on what you're looking for, whether that's just experiencing the story or, as the devs put it, a punishingly difficult hard mode. Before leaving the podcast, the team said it's very tempting to release something for everyone to try, but only when the experience is fully polished. Now, hopefully this means a demo will happen sooner than later, so keep your eyes open for that. And as far as the release date, I would assume somewhere mid-2025 to early 2026 if we're being realistic. Before leaving, consider subscribing if you learned anything new from this video or enjoyed the vibes. If you're unfamiliar, we are trying to cultivate a community full of positivity that's free from toxicity and negativity. If this sounds like your style, we would love to have you. One of our main goals is to hit 15,000 subs in 2024, and you can help with that with the click of a button. That's everything for today, but until next time, remember to be good to your fellow gamer, but be better to your fellow human.